So Project Exhaul is back in the shop. If you guys have been following along, you know what we've done. For those of you who haven't, there's an entire playlist attached to this video that you can watch what this truck was when we first got it, all the things we did to it to bring it to the condition it is today. But if you'd like to see how we turn this truck into this truck, stick around. I'm JC Smith. I'm going to show you how I do it. All right, it's time to go pick up a new bed for Project Exhaul. My trailer has 2 batteries in it, and they're not exactly the best condition, so every time I park the truck I have to disconnect this or drain my truck batteries. Oh, I gotta check my lights. Make sure we got turn signals, brake lights, and that kind of stuff. About an hour drive where I'm going. Side markers working, tires all look good. Although nothing looks flat. Yep, good there. Got a turn signal up here. Yep, I can see it. Okay, all right, I guess we're about ready to go. I gotta grab a few straps, and we're gonna go pick up what I'm putting on Project Exhaul today. Alright, so here's what's going on it. Here's the hoist assembly. After that, we'll put something else on it. But right now, we gotta wash it because it's dirty, isn't it?
A little bit.
Dusty from sitting around. So, anyways. Got 2 holes to drill in the back top of the frame, and then after that we have to do the brackets for up here. So our holes are drilled in the top of the frame, and we drilled the holes for these brackets. These are the crucial brackets as far as I'm concerned, because that's where the lift is, that's where the hoist is. So when it goes to lift, it's going to want to pull on that right here. Same thing over there. They give you these forward ones, and you can see how small they are. I've got the hoist cleaned up in all of those places to weld, and then we're gonna dry this all off. Might just use a leaf blower to help dry it off, and we'll put it on and start welding. Subassembly is dry, and I've used some weld through primer on the mating surfaces of these brackets so that we don't get any rust jacking and buildup happening on, you know, bare metal to painted steel. So if you're wondering why I didn't paint these ahead of time, it's because as soon as I welded it would just burn the paint off, so it's pointless. So we'll set the subassembly in place, we'll get it clamped down, get it squared, get it clamped where we want it, we'll run our welds, then we'll take the bolts out, lift the subassembly off, and then paint the brackets and where the welds are all at the same time, so we get good coverage on everything. So hopefully it looks good for a long time. So now we're going to set the subassembly on and get to work.
Okay, I had to set the camera down because I wanted to make sure that I didn't let the forks break out the back window. He got the bolts in the back, and he's squaring it up, the rest of it right now. What are you doing up here? You're getting ready to weld up here, right?
I got to square it to the frame.
Oh, I know that.
We where I need to be. So now I need to clamp everything together so it holds it where it belongs. Let's see, I still got tension here. Leave a little tension on it, makes it a little easier to move, to align it. And once it's aligned, I'll take the tension off and clamp it. Shit.
I'll go get your clamps.
Alright, so now she's got this all painted on all the brackets on both sides. So now we're going to go ahead and set it on there.
So we got to put back on and all bolted in back to. Painted the brackets. They're dry, touched up a few places. He's getting ready to do the hydraulic stuff now.
A steel bolt going into an aluminum housing, so never sees on it. this crap could be a problem for somebody. When you think about it, it gets kind of irritating when you have to bring manufacturer's quality up to your standards so it doesn't hurt the value of your truck. It isn't like this wasn't intended to be outside. Okay, heat gun over there. I got the power cable in here. I got it routed on the back and secured to the back of the pump. Now I need to bring the ground. So power comes in here, the ground will bring it off this front where it says ground terminal here. And then we'll bring it around and run the two together up to the battery.
So he's got the wires hooked up there, and then he put them in loom and ran them down to the battery box. Got that all taken care of, and now he's hooking up the hydraulic lines.
Okay, now we have to protect these lines because hydraulic lines move every time they got pressure on them. So we need to secure these together, protect it from here, protect it from this. It goes to that channel, so we're going to need some loom and some zip ties. These are the chassis, like holders, wire holders, whatever. They run a zip tie through it, so I ran it around the back of the hose and then through the front. Hold that one from moving too much. Okay, now it's time to zip tie here. I don't want wiring to move. I want it to stay where it belongs. Stays where it belongs. It doesn't move, it doesn't rub. tie like this over top. Protect the wires from here. Take some of that out of there, shrink that up. We'll see. Okay, I need to get onto the hoses to the lift cylinder. I need the metric Allen sockets and the 3/8 ratchet.
Okay.
Difficult to see, but I'm under the truck hooking up the power up and power down, which I don't think it's made, I'm not sure it's powered down, but it's definitely going to be using the opposite side as a reservoir, I think, if it isn't powered down. But I'm done down here. I just need to zip tie it up at the top here. Next thing I need to do is get this remote into the cab, and I don't want to cut a hole big enough to run this whole thing through. So I'm going to take the connector apart, de-pin it, and then just run it through a grommet. That allows me to be just this diameter, which is about a little better than 3/8 maybe. I'll just have to repin this to put it back together.
Okay, go.
First we're going to pull the lock out the center. Then we have to relieve the little locks way down in there for each pin. Can you see that there?
No.
Turn your light on. Right there. You can just pull that little lock. When you pull that open, just pull the one wire out.
Do you want me to hold on to the gray part?
It's out. See how one's recessed now?
Not really.
This one's recessed now.
It's having trouble focusing.
Anyways, you just pull these locks out and do one by one. Be sure to take a picture of this before you do it. So you know where to put them back together at. So you can see that. Down in there is the little locks. They are right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get this through now. So I got that pinned back together and ran into the cab. So here's the up and down for it, and it's on a magnetic base, so it can sit right there. It can also go over on the other side, be in the driver's right hand if need be, and it clears the door, no problems. So I soldered in this harness into the existing ones, soldered, deox, heat shrink, all that. So now we're just going to test it. Give me marker lights. Okay, that's correct. Give me left turn. Give me right turn. Brake lights. Oh yeah, good. Okay, turn them all off. All right, so everything works. So now the electrical's done. We'll clean all that up. The hoses are run. I still have to put a second battery in here and then connect the power for this, and then we're just about ready for the dump bed, I think. So if you go onto this and you look and see what we have here, this is a little more than normal. I typically do about 4 inches. I went 5 inches here. We're shoving the bed back this way as far as we can without it looking ridiculous, because when you do a hitch plate like I did here and you set it in on the frame, those top bolts have to go back just a little bit so they can clear the plate. So our bed's gonna be 10'6". So we're basically, what is that? Right there. It's about 9 foot 10 and a half. So we're gonna have about 7.5 inches of overhang. So we're gonna be out here. So that'll be plenty acceptable, and it'll help with the lift. It'll protect the lights. get them back underneath there a little bit farther, underneath the bed, and but not so much that when it tilts it's going to hit the receiver tube. We should be fine. So instead of running nuts and bolts, this is 1/4 inch thick plate. So I just drilled it so that I could cap it with a 1/4 inch, 1/4 20 bolt. And I just put the never teeth on it. And I ran another hole to run the wiring through. Okay, now the only thing left to do is solder this in to this right here. This is what they had for 3/4 for the 3 center ID lights, but they're 2-inch lights, and I don't want to cut a 2-inch hole, 3 of them in this, and I don't want to cut them in the back of the bed, so we're just going to do away with it and wire it my way. All right, we are just about there. I've finished up all the lights now on the rear. Everything is soldered, heat shrinked, zip tied, ready to go in. These are the harnesses that go up into the bed. So those are ready to go in. And we need to clean these up because that's what we're going to weld the bed to. I'll be able to get a long weld here on both sides. So I got to clean them up good. And the same thing up here. I need to clean these pieces up. They move in and out. And we'll shove it out as far as we can. We can get a nice weld in here. The C-channel will lay right in here. So we'll shove this out as far as we can go. Once we get it all set and it's going up and down the way we want, we'll take these loose, move them in, and get it to where it sits down right. We still have to put our guides on here. We haven't done that yet, but we'll do that after the bed's on. It's coming along. I gotta get fluid for the hydraulic unit here. We're gonna run it up and down and get the air out of it before we put the bed on. But we're getting close. I ended up with 7 inches of overhang past the edge of the frame. So, I don't know, where is that? About right there. I'm pretty happy about that. I think that's going to be a nice fit. We're just about there, ready to set the bed on. Won't be long now. So I'm finishing up the wiring. This truck had 1 battery originally, and it was a side terminal, so we went to 2 top post Group 31 batteries since we're going to be using electric or hydraulic. So we got a jumper from positive to positive, so it's in parallel, and we brought a lead off to a circuit breaker. The circuit breaker is weatherproof, watertight, whatever, and if it trips, this little arm comes out. So we want that as close to the battery as we can because it protects this line all the way up to there and over current, short, what have you. So they supply us with the wire, the cable they want you to use, but it's way too long for this application, so I cut it down and just crimped on new terminals with the right size ring terminal hole here. Heat shrink, same thing here. Zip tied it all up nice and neat and tidy. And now we are ready to test this as soon as my wife gets back with some fluid for it. So I'm filling up the fluid. I like to put some in, and then I like to run the hoist up and down a little bit and then add some more as I need, because this cylinder is right now the piston's way down in this area. So the bottom side of it is almost empty, but the other side, what would be the downside, because you imagine you're pushing on the bottom side of a piston, there's just a big disc in here, and you put fluid in here, it pushes against that piston and makes this rod come out. So then when you want to go the other way, fluid comes in the other side of the piston and forces the piston down this way. So as one side of the cylinder is getting pressure, the other one is relieving pressure, and then it switches and this one gets pressure, this one's relieving. So you're always at a constant state of full in that cylinder, unless you have leaks, of course. So when I fill this, you can see here's our fill. This is the breather, okay, so you don't build up pressure. If it didn't have a way to be open to atmospheric pressure, this thing would just explode. So what I do is run it back and forth until it's full, and then you can see in here where the pickup tube is, down in there, maybe. I want to make sure I'm completely above that pickup tube, because also as it goes up and down, if you use it a lot, the bigger the reservoir the better, because then the fluid stays cooler. The cooler the fluid, the longer the pump lasts, the seals last, all that kind of stuff. So this would be our minimum. I don't want to be below that, but I don't want to be above the line for the breather either, which is like right here. So somewhere between here and here is where I want to be, like in this area. To get some more fluid in it now. So we have to clean these all up. Everywhere we think we might be able to weld it. And same thing on the rear. And then we have to do the corresponding things on the bed itself. You know, here, and on this side. Anywhere we think we're going to be able to lay a weld in here. Looks like I need to do a little bit more too.
Very hot. It is hot today.
Okay, so that is all welded in and all the welds are painted now. So the next thing we have to do is get the cab protector on here, and this I usually got to do outside because my shop's not high enough for me to suspend it. The other shop I have a crane, and I can hook it up with that and kind of slide it in between the two, but I don't have that option here, so we'll get all the wiring finished up next and put it down, then we'll take it outside and get everything lined up and marked. Well, there she is, all finished up. Got the cab protector on, got the lighting and wiring all finished up. My wife cleaned the inside of the bed, She washed everything down, touched up the interior. I got my dirty feet inside. She touched all that up. Overall, I got to tell you, I'm pretty happy with how the truck turned out. I think it'll make somebody a really, really nice little dump truck. A couple things I do different next time. I'm always looking to do something better or, you know, cleaner, whatever the case, on each build. But overall, I'm very happy. You know, I stopped on this thing right here. This is where it's at. I'm not going to spend any more money unless it doesn't sell. I really wanted to put a toolbox here, but the toolbox that I wanted to put in here adds $600 to the cost of the truck. And if I add that and someone doesn't need it, doesn't want it, I just raise the price and maybe alienate a couple of buyers, or maybe not. That fender there, I still may end up changing that out if the truck doesn't sell fast. We have stuff like this that we might touch up. And we got a little bit of this, that, and the other going on here. But that is if it doesn't sell. As of right now, I'm done with the truck. I don't think we'll be revisiting it again, but you never know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this process and this build and this series, because I'm about to move on to the next one. We got to bring the F750 back in. I got some more work to do to it. We're starting the cab over build, and after that, I've got a couple other things I got to take care of. Man, we got a lot to do. I'm going to try and keep this momentum going and keep these video series going as long as I can, as fast as we can. So thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.